Hello, my beloved friends. So, I welcome you in the love and the light of the one infinite creator. And today I have channeled the Council of Planets in order to query about the vibration test results. Now, we already know from many of my previous channeling sessions that there was a vibration test conducted upon our planet, and in this session the Council of Planets, they describe what was discovered during the checkup of the planet. Furthermore, they also tell us that this is the beginning of a new era. Okay, they tell us that there will be some drastic changes in our own like consciousness and our own uh, our we normally have the left brain and the right brain, right? Now those of you in this session, okay, they talk about the left brain and the right brain a lot. So I did some research. I looked on the internet, and I found out that the left brain is concerned with the aspect of analytical mind. Okay, the mind which thinks, the mind which thinks logically, rationality, analytical portion of the mind is concerned with the left side. The right side of the brain is more concerned with intuition. So this is what you need to know before watching the session. So I have already told this to you, so you will find it easier to understand the session. And also they in the session they tell about what are the coming, like the changes that will come in our planet. And also at the end of the session they discuss about what is known as how there was an experiment conducted. Okay, they discuss about that the experiments that they had done, since the Council of Planets, they are they said that they are looking after many galaxies, not only this galaxy. Whereas the so today I think I understood the difference between Galactic Federation and the Council. The Galactic Federation is only looking after this galaxy, okay, whereas the Council of Planets, they look after many galaxies, so they are a layer above the Galactic Federation. And also before I explain to you too much, in the end of the session they talk about the experiments that they had done in the various galaxies and how we came to be in this manner. Okay, so also they talk about how the egoic portion of the mind was experimented in the various galaxies. So it's fascinating, okay, but it's at the end of the session, and this session is a bit longer. So anyways, here is the session without much further ado.
We are the Council of Planets looking over this galaxy, and we are concerned with the safekeeping of your galaxy, along with many other galaxies which we are connected to. We are now connected to this channel. And before we start to proceed our communication regarding the various questions this channel has placed before us, we would like to warn each of you who shall hear this message to only accept those messages that resonate with your true self, and leave behind those that do not resonate. We are connected today, and we shall try to share our message in the most clear and simple language for your people to understand. However, the language of your Earth planet has the ability of being distorted and has the ability of distorting the true meaning. Therefore, we shall begin this communication in the most simple language terms. Today, this channel has requested about the results of the Earth's vibration check that had been conducted on the Earth planet from the month of July, which lasted up to the 8th of August. And what we have found out is that because of the inbuilt part of many of the entities on your planet, the two aspects of the brain, the left brain and the right brain, are those aspects which determine the experience of each entity. Those who are advanced in using the left brain become analytical and they become focused on the aspects governing the ego portions of the mind. Many of these people, they begin to develop advanced critical analytical skills and they forget the truth of their inner core. Furthermore, this started on your Earth planet during the time of the Egyptians, wherein there was a certain entity who decided to create language in the written form, which would lead to the culmination of the activation of the left portion of the mind. This left portion of the mind began to be intensely used amongst your people, leading to your people being over-analytical and their consciousness being trapped on the focus of the self. If this had not happened on the Earth planet, your planet would have been able to rise up in the level of consciousness because of those beings who focus primarily on the right side or the right brain, which is concerned with the connection and the intuition with the true self. This right brain would lead entities into higher levels of consciousness because of this connection, and the activation of the right side of the brain amongst your people would lead to a faster awakening on your planet. As the results of the vibration test upon your planet was conducted by us, and we had sent many of our checkup beings in order to check the planetary vibration of each hemisphere. We are of the opinion that your planet's vibration can be divided into two subsections: the Western Hemisphere along with some parts of the Eastern Hemisphere, which does not amount to much, can be placed into the spiritual side of the planet Earth. In these parts of the planet, many entities have chosen to awaken, and they are now revolting or realizing the tyranny caused by the elites whose main purpose is to put a control on the masses of people. The Western Hemisphere's people are also connected with their right brain much more often than those in the Eastern Hemisphere. We are talking about the proportion of entities, not in a single level basis, but based upon the collective consciousness. The left portion of the Earth planet is at a higher vibration compared to that of the East. This has also occurred because of many of the distortions of control and the distortion of the messages that were previously shared amongst those people on the Eastern Hemisphere, which created this gap of consciousness because of the rules that were created. The people on the western side of your planet have realized the control of the elites on the planet is slowly diluting the freedom of your people. Each entity on your planetary sphere is now realizing the control that the elites are placing upon each being. Also, the entire planet's vibration is of a positive nature, and Gaia will transition into the fourth density consciousness. However, there will be many entities who will not ascend into higher levels because many of the entities on the Earth planet have not realized that they must also be self-aware, as the difference between the second density and the third density is that the third density is the density of awareness, wherein entities have to be aware of the awareness within their own physical vehicle. Those who lack this self-awareness will find it hard to find the truth of awareness and the oneness amongst other beings. Many entities on your planet only have realized this aspect of awareness of the self to a percentage which may be considered less than favorable for the planet's vibration. Furthermore, we would like to state that currently on the Earth planet, there are a total of 0.9 million potential individualized portions of consciousness that have chosen the path of service to the Creator, and there are 2.7 billion individualized portions of consciousness who have chosen the path of service to others. There are approximately 900,000 wanderers currently incarnated on the Earth planet, whose main purpose is to assist humanity by spreading love and light energies through these times of the transition period. Also, we, the Council of Planets, have now decided that the guidance that will be provided to your people will be based upon the teachings of the ability to rise above the level of the reptilian part of the mind, of the second density physical vehicle which you now inhabit into. Your consciousness may be of a later third density type, but the physical vehicle is that of a second density consciousness. Also remember that since your mind, or the reptilian part of the mind, is concerned with creating fear and all other lower aspects that govern the survival mode, since at this time period, the negative-oriented entities who have lodged themselves in the Martian planet are working with your elites to trigger this part of the mind, and their last purpose and their last trial is to spread fear amongst your people by triggering the reptilian portions of your mind in order to rise above in the future time spaces of communications. We shall share many of the methodologies to rise above the reptilian portions of the mind and to stay connected with your true inner self. Furthermore, this aspect of the left side of the brain is primarily concerned with the analytical aspects, like we stated before, and those entities who only have a glimpse or use the right side of the brain have more of a chance of ascending and accessing the unmanifested energies that are being accessed by some entities in order to reach higher levels, and also to create new aspects in the form of new knowledge which was not available to those entities whose primary objective is to use the left portion of the brain. Therefore, the right side of the mind is concerned with intuition and all other creative aspects of awakening of consciousness. We as the Council of Planets are not here to infringe upon the free will, but just here to share that those who shall rely heavily on the left portion of the mind or the egoic portions of the mind shall find it harder to connect with their true self and also access these higher energies. Let us tell you how the ego portions of the mind affects the planetary consciousness based upon the past experiments conducted by us in the various galaxies in the so-called Sirius star planets prior to 10 million years ago. An experiment was conducted wherein the Sirius A planetary sphere had inhabitants in the third density consciousness that had a leaning towards or a bias towards the right side of the brain complex, and the other planet, the Sirius B planet, had a leaning towards the left side. In the pathway of evolution, the first planet, which had entities rely heavily on the right side, were able to ascend and graduate at a considerably less amount of time than the other planet, in which entities who had relied on the left portions of the mind developed an egoic aspect, which led to the destruction of the earth. We correct ourselves. Destruction of the planets. Furthermore, we also realized that some of the portions of the egoic mind were needed in order to make entities realize the contrast of being detached from the creative source and leaning towards self-gratification of the ego-created mind patterns. After the experiments were decided, we decided to include 70% bias towards the ego portions of the mind in another experiment conducted in the Martian planet, which also led to the destruction of the Mars planets in the cycle of evolution. And hence, after this, we created your human physical vehicles along with the support from the beings known as the Elohim Collective, who also guided in creating a 60% bias towards egoic patterns in the mind and a leaning towards the left hemisphere of the brain. This also was found to be less effective on the Earth planet, as the last graduation on the Earth planet was almost unfound. Now our plan after the vibration test is to initiate a triggering of the right side of the brain with a balance between the right and the left side portions of the brain on the Earth entities. This will allow a greater choice. However, we don't know what choice will be made by various entities on the long run while encountering this bias. This aspect will begin triggering from the coming months after the 22nd of August, as each being needs guidance from its own concerned higher self to achieve this balance. Because without the guidance of the higher self, they may forget that they are in the third density consciousness, which is the density of self-awareness, or the awareness of the self. Furthermore, we, the Council of Planets, disconnect now.
So my friends, after watching the session, I hope you learned, some things that you needed to learn at this time period. I learned so much. Okay, like I learned about the left portion of the brain and the right side of the brain. I had heard about this before, but I had never thought that those people who use their left brain too much, okay, they become disconnected from the source. And this is what the council is saying, that from now on the council is going to change the process of giving knowledge to us. So from now on, okay, we will more people will begin to use the right side of the brain. So the right side of the brain is concerned with the the aspect of the mind which is more like creative, intuitive, and this portion, if we use this portion, we will have more intuitive and more connection with our own higher self and the other higher beings. This is what I understood. And I believe when we are in a meditative state, or when we are in a state where we are not like thinking too much, where there is no noise in our mind, the left brain is switched off and the right brain is activated. So as per the session, okay, the council had done some experiments previously also in the various other galaxies, and they said that the egoic portions of the mind were first tested in the Sirius galaxy, and in that galaxy, okay, they said that the egoic portions of the mind created a lot of trouble. Okay, it led to the destruction of the planet around 10 million years ago. I believe it was an experiment that they had done, and in another planet, wherein there was no bias towards this egoic portion of the mind or the left brain. There was only right side of the mind. The beings, they graduated faster. So, in our Earth planet, what they had done, as far as I understood, is that they had placed 60% bias towards our left brain or analytical mind, and also 40% of our right brain. So from now on, they have said that it will change in the coming days. Our automatic. I don't know how it will happen. Maybe they will do some DNA upgrades or something like that. I don't know. Okay, they said that our right brain, we will begin to lean towards or use more of our right brain, which will lead to our connection with the higher self and with other beings, so that we stay connected and we will be able to graduate. Also, one of the most important things that I learned from this session is that they have said that the third density is the density of self-awareness, which means that we need to be aware of awareness. So for example, what I understood is, for example, my awareness is right now I am talking, so is in my tongue. Okay, so I need to be simply aware of the attention on the tongue, and that is the meaning of self-awareness. I got so many insights from the session, right? It's like mind-blowing. Okay, I learned so much from the session, and I hope you also learned many things from this session. And thank you so much for watching the video, and also thank you all for supporting me on Patreon, and see you in the next session.